we greet our friends everywhere with Chapter 24 of Ninepence in Her Pocket, the story of Gladys Aylward. This is another in the series, Stories of Great Christians, and comes to you from the radio studios of the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago. All winter, Gladys had spent her time helping a missionary couple in Japanese-occupied Sechao, just before the outbreak of World War II, as the mission compound there overflowed with refugees and war orphans who had no other shelter. Now that spring was opening up the countryside to the armies, the Japanese troops at Sechao withdrew to press the war further into the interior of the province. For the first time in months, Sechao was free of the presence of soldiers, but not for long. Shortly after the Japanese left, a small group of Chinese officers paid an astonishing visit to Gladys. One officer in particular, a colonel, persuaded Gladys to listen to what he had to say.
I serve you this tea, Colonel Leland, to honor the man you represent, Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek. Ordinarily, we do not permit Chinese soldiers even on our grounds. We have to maintain our neutrality, or the Japanese would burn the mission to the ground when they returned.
I understand your position is very delicate, especially for a foreigner at this time. I appreciate your special kindness.
I am a Chinese citizen, although it is true, as you can see, I am not Chinese.
How very unusual.
God called me to China. It is my home. The Chinese are my people. It's not really strange that I should have become a citizen.
Your Chinese is perfect.
Thank you. But you didn't come here to exchange pleasantries.
The military situation in Shanxi province is confused. It is difficult for the central government to know what is happening here. Yet this is a vital area for the defense of China.
Why should a remote area like this be so important? We're so far away from everything.
It is difficult for the Japanese to fight in this area. The mountains are easily defended, and the Yellow River is an impassable barrier. If we can push the Japanese back anywhere, it will be here, in this area.
Then we are going to have more fighting.
I'm afraid so. Much more. Will you help China?
How can I help? I'm a missionary. This mission belongs to God. It is on neutral ground.
Does God insist on neutrality in all things? Is he not against evil?
Yes.
Japanese intentions are evil for China and for her people. China must win this war. You think you have seen suffering, destruction? Can you envision the misery of her people if China would be made to bend her back to Japan?
I will help you as far as my conscience will allow.
That is most kind of you. I will call again and talk with you further if I may.
Are you sure you'll be all right, Gladys? I wonder if it's a good idea to hold services in the mountain villages just now. The Japanese soldiers are billeted all over.
Oh, they don't bother me, and I don't bother them. Come on, help me up on the mule, Jean.
Hang on. Tally-ho!
I wish you could come and see how happy the Christians are to have a service. You'd know why I'm so glad to be off.
You think you'll be back in a week?
Oh, yes, maybe sooner. You're sure you can manage the children? They're quite dreadful.
I know I canna, but then neither can you.
Here now, you'll hurt my feelings.
Take care.
You too. God bless.
God bless. Tell the Christians David and I pray for them every day. Bye.
And you Christians in exile have not only the prayers of the Davises and other Christians in China. You have the prayers of Christ's Church all over the world, in countries you have never heard of, There are Christians praying for China and for the church here. Most of us have lost everything. Most are hiding, and some are separated from families. But you are not alone. Remember always the promise of our Savior. Lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world.
I have cabbage for you, Aylward.
Oh, thank you.
I wanted to ask you to sleep in my wretched home, but the Japanese sleep there. I go only to get what I need.
I didn't know there were Japanese billeted there.
Oh, yes. We have had about 20 officers for over a week. The fields are full of the soldiers.
Eating our food, and worse.
Over 100 men. They eat very much.
Perhaps they will go soon.
Not them. They are waiting for something. Do not take the path along the ravine. Take the river bank down, and you will not have to see them.
Thank you. That's the way I came up.
If you want to spend the night, I know where you could sleep.
No, thank you. I have time to reach an inn before dark. I want to be going.
Oh, goodbye, Aylward. Goodbye, Aylward.
You will do well to find an inn that is not overrun with them.
Then I'll sleep on the mountain. I've brought my bedroll. It won't hurt me at all. Goodbye, dear friends. I'll come back as soon as I can. And I'll give all your greetings to the Davises as soon as I arrive in Seichao. I should be there tomorrow. There now, friend Mule. I think we've seen enough of each other for a few days. You have a nice supper of cake.
Gladys, I'm so glad you're back.
Why?
There's a Chinese colonel inside waiting to see you. He's been by twice before. He just came a few minutes ago. Do you know what he wants?
No, not exactly.
How was your trip?
Fine. So many people want to be remembered to you and David.
Tell me at supper. The colonel's in the parlor.
Colonel Linan, are you well?
I am well. And you?
I am well.
It is my good fortune that you have returned. I thought I'd missed you again.
I frequently make trips into the rural areas and the mountains to meet with the Christian converts.
I am aware of that. And you go alone?
Of course.
What if you should fall on the trail and be injured? No one would ever know.
I've been in China for 10 years, and no one is worried about me yet.
Until now.
What is it you wanted to see me about?
In your journey, you saw Japanese troops, did you not?
Yes.
Where?
Mostly in the villages south of the river.
How many troops, would you say?
You're asking me to spy.
This is a small word. We long for a China free and strong and incorruptible. From this war can rise a nation that will be a benevolent mother to her millions of children. Her children that are now so wretched and so hungry. I am asking you to help China.
There were possibly 200. One of the villagers said 20 officers had been there a week and they were waiting for something.
What kind of guns did they have? What sort of supplies?
I don't know. I saw nothing. I only knew what the people told me.
You are tired. I shouldn't stay talking to you.
I want to do the right thing, Colonel Linan. It is not easy for me to give you this information.
You have thought much about China. So have I. We both love this country. And we both know that it has been corrupt and disorganized for centuries. After the war, we will build a new China. The poor and the deprived, they will be the benefactors. But first, the war must be won. There will be no hope for China if Japan wins.
I know that.
May I visit you again? There are many points of interest in Seichao that I would be honored to show you.
Thank you. I'd enjoy that.
It will be my honor to talk with you again.
This is a beautiful view of Seichao, Colonel Linan. What amazing things the walls of China are. Oh, the scene is like a landscape scroll.
Like a painting of Wu Taozi.
Who is he?
He was perhaps China's greatest painter. He lived 700 years before your Christ.
And his paintings still exist?
No, but he was the model for the centuries of artists that followed him. There is a story about him that once some monks treated him rudely, so he painted a donkey on the walls of a monastery room. That night, the monastery echoed with the sound of thudding hoofs, and the next morning, the monks discovered their furniture in ruins.
He sounds dangerous.
Only to the rude. It is said that he painted wind and water so marvelously that the wind could be felt and the waves heard thundering along the shore.
You know a great deal about China. I envy you for that.
Ah, but you know the people, their dreams, their troubles, their lives.
You must have had a long education. I know that much about China. The longer you study, the further you can go.
I was educated at Peking and at the Central Military Academy in Nanking. For a long time, I wondered what I would do with my life. But I have found my place.
You like war, fighting?
In my way, I hate it as deeply as you.
But you say you have found your place. You are a soldier.
The ancient China has passed away, Awida. It is no longer possible for China to isolate herself in the shadows of antiquity. China is turning toward the 20th century. And when this war with Japan is over, China will just have begun to fight.
Why do you say that?
The Communist Party, which now joins with the Generalissimo to oppose the Japanese, will attack the nationalist government as soon as the Japanese are defeated.
And this is a serious threat.
It will be a fight to the death. But in the end, I see China emerging from the conflict, free and cleansed of corruption. A China that will nourish her millions.
And when the Generalissimo triumphs over communism, what a great day that will be for the gospel. Christianity will spread freely across the face of China. Oh, it will be wonderful.
I don't know why, but I'm always surprised at how much you really love China.
I would die for China. Of course, I'd rather not if I didn't have to.
I wonder if a person could ever inspire that kind of devotion in you.
I don't know. I expect it's rather late for that now. You've been very kind, Colonel Lenan, to show me Seichao from the hill and to tell me so much about China. And now I must be getting back.
Oh, of course. We'll have another conversation soon, I hope.
If you have time, I'm sure I'd learn a great deal.
And so we conclude Chapter 24 of Ninepence in Her Pocket, the story of Gladys Aylward. This is another in the series, Stories of Great Christians, and comes to you from the radio studios of the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago.